And we say good afternoon to you. Welcome aboard. Actually, good evening now. We're at the 6 o'clock hour. That means it's time to get ready for the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. I'm your host, Tom Taylor, along with my co-host, or we're co-hosts together, my buddy Dave Angie from the News Neighbor. Good afternoon. I keep saying good afternoon. Good evening, sir. Ready to roll. What a beautiful fall day here in the hills of East Tennessee.
Oh, my goodness. It's finally feeling like football weather. It took till week 10 of the high school season here, the final week, but feels like football now. And definitely this weekend, a lot on the line. Looking at a lot of playoff seedings, a lot of stuff going on. Of course, college really hitting high gear, too. Starting to see some matchups that people are looking at as kind of pre-playoff games, playoff games within the season where we're going to start whittling it down here and find out who the contenders are. So definitely a lot to talk about tonight.
Coming up, Joe Vento is going to be our first guest in just a few minutes, previewing the East Tennessee State Wofford football game Saturday. Could be in the rain at Bill Green Stadium on the campus of East Tennessee State, but either way, Mike Ayers brings the Wofford Terriers to town, a 10th-ranked team in the country. They're a buzzsaw, and of course they got beat, and so they're going to come in mad. Mike Ayers with local ties, as he coached at one point back at East Tennessee State. That's back a long time ago when I was doing the Bucks on the radio. So Ayers and the Terriers come to town. Joe will preview that one. You'll be with Doug Fritz, and Doug's going to preview all the high school football games. And, of course, as you said a few seconds ago, it's the final week of the regular season of high school football. There's a lot at stake, and I guess none bigger than what's been going on tomorrow night in Dumpling Valley. Jefferson County trying to play the spoiler 2 weeks in a row, and Graham Clark and Dobbins Bennett, what a turnaround for this football team. At one point they were talking about just hoping to get into the playoffs, and even at one point going, gosh, we may be one of those 3 or 4 seeds. Here they are playing for the championship tomorrow night. This way things have kind of unfolded with Farragut losing and Science Hill losing, and so that's a big one tomorrow night down in Dumpling Valley.
Yeah, definitely. And the Jeff County team couldn't have any more confidence in what they have heading into this ball game here. And obviously a rough start for them. They were winless till last week, but they go on the road to Science Hill. Tough environment to begin with when you're playing on the road up there. And then you go down 14-0. And they find a way. They move a wide receiver over to a quarterback position. He starts running the ball. He goes nuts, over 200 yards. And then they play very solid defensively after those early 2 scores and really controlled the ball is what they did and kind of kept Science Hill's offense off the field. And then when Science Hill got the ball, able to limit the damage and keep them out of the end zone. So, they're playing with a lot of confidence now, and Dobbins Bennett has a lot on the line. And these games are always dangerous because you got one team nothing to lose and another team with everything to lose.
I can't remember. Of course, I called Stacy's games out at South for several years. I can't recall a Stacy Carter football team ever letting somebody score 31 unanswered points on them. So either Jeff County was, and I think they had a couple of wrinkles in their offensive scheme that Science Hill wasn't ready for. Credit Spencer Riley, the Jeff County coach, for coming up with that. So anyway, that's a big one tomorrow night, and he and Doug will go down the line with all the big ball games because, as we said, final game of the regular season, a lot at stake. Again, the old format's in place. Top 2 will be at home, and the bottom 3 and 4 seed will travel starting next Friday night across Northeast Tennessee in single elimination. Also coming up on the show, Kevin Harmon. He has the dubious task of sitting it down and previewing the Tennessee-Kentucky football game. We know what happened with Kelly now at Ignat. The 2 players got arrested for a busted headlight, kind of got it all going for them, and so unfortunately they get arrested, and so they're not playing on Saturday. And I had some people telling me that, well, it's Butch Jones' fault. Now, there's no way. Now, he's going to pay for it because he didn't have his best running back out there. This is not Butch. You can't put this on him. This is poor judgment, consequences for your choices. This is not a Butch Jones problem, although he'll ultimately pay for it. This is a John Kelly and a Will Ignat problem that they didn't use good judgment.
Yeah, definitely so. And you see it with college teams, winning teams, losing teams, and teams in the middle. You're going to see stuff like this happen. It's a situation where you have kids go away to school, they get out of the home, go to college and learn some things, just like every kid does. It's something that's just not as high profile, for the general population, at the University of Tennessee as it is for the starting running back. That's when it becomes really newsworthy, and that's where they're at. The frustrating thing for Butch Jones in Tennessee is this is just something else, on top of it. And, we've talked before about once seasons start to really go downhill, it seems like it's one thing after another. It seems like it all piles up, and it's hard to reverse that. And, they're going to have to find some answers this week. Pretty good Kentucky team, and, I think Tennessee, in my mind, would be the underdog going into that ball game.
Grandma used to say back home in the hills of West Virginia, things happen in threes, good or bad. And so, Butch Jones got something else to deal with. And of course, you go to Kentucky without your leading rusher, 4th in the conference, averaging 88 yards a game. That's you take 6 touchdowns off the board, over 612 yards rushing, over 270-some yards receiving the football out of the backfield from either Dormady or Garantano. So that's a big hole to fill Saturday.
For Tennessee, everything happens in threes because it's been a month since they've scored a touchdown. They want things to start happening in sixes. They want to start.
Go ahead.
All right, there we go.
That's good.
And that's the thing. They've been in the red zone, seems like all season, and haven't gotten the ball in the end zone. And it's cost them time and time again in close football games. South Carolina, Florida, those ones come immediately to mind. And if they win those two football games, we're looking at this whole deal all differently than we are otherwise. So, score a few touchdowns against UMass, maybe they're feeling a little bit better going into Georgia. So it's amazing. A team can move the ball, between the 20s all day long, but if they're not putting it in the end zone, the attitude of the team and the perception of the team is completely different. So they got to find some ways to punch it in.
Carmichael will be along talking about the top 5 college football games of the week. Got some good ones. Also, the picking panel will tell you how you can win $25. Last week, he and I, the two-headed monster, went, what do we say, 7 for 10? 8 for 10? 7 for 10?
I think it was 7. I think it was 7. Yeah.
70% will win you some cash, and it could win you $25, and we'll tell you how you can play that. Tonight at midnight's the cutoff for that, by the way. Chris McCall will be by in a little while. Talk about the Hokies. He's a big Hokie fan. Hokie. The Hokies and the Duke Blue Devils at Lane Stadium on Saturday. And then our buddy Andy Dietrich will be along as well. Tell you what's going on here at Champion Chevrolet. I can tell you what's going on right now at Champion. They've got, it's incredible, 2017 Silverado Crew Cab All-Star pickup trucks, $11,000 off the sticker. As soon as you walk through those doors here on the Bristol Highway Motor Mile, Johnson City, you immediately get $11,000 off the sticker on a Silverado Crew Cab All-Star pickup truck, which is incredible. And so we like it, and that's going to be a good thing, and we'll talk more about that. We'll let Andy do that coming up here in just a few minutes. So the stage is set. That's who's all going to be on this show. Lots of information. Cool thing about this is folks go back and watch it tonight. Tomorrow it's archived, and so a lot of folks, the numbers show, a lot of folks may not be able to watch it tonight. They'll go back and they listen and watch on Fridays.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're not going to tell any of your bosses about it. We know some of you have been watching on Fridays. That's okay. It's been a long week. Get your work done early. I mean, if you're efficient, get all your stuff finished, jump on there and watch it. Yeah. And you'll know what's going on Friday night. You know what's going on Saturday because, it's very fortunate to be involved in this personally because this group of experts we have come on this show, they know what they're talking about. I learn a lot of new stuff every week, and it helps me out as I go out and enjoy the game on Friday night and on Saturdays as well.
Couple of sports notes in case you missed it this afternoon. The Yankees let Joe Girardi go. That surprises me they canned him because this guy, took him through the Indians, got the Twins in the postseason wild card game, eliminated a good Cleveland team, and got down to the Astros and took them to Game 7. And why would they get rid of this guy?
It's kind of funny. You had the Red Sox and the Yankees both make it out of the East to the playoffs. Both playoff teams, they both get rid of their managers. So, it's one of those things with Girardi. I understand that one a little bit more than I did the Red Sox situation. You have this young group of players that have finally come into their own, and they're looking at a new era of Yankee baseball, and I think they're looking at it and saying, this team's going to need to be managed a little bit differently. There's different strengths for this team, than there have been maybe in some of the past traditional Yankees teams back in the days of Jeter and A-Rod when he was still there. So I think they just want to get a fresh start for these guys, and it'll be interesting to see who they go out there and pick. I think this is a very highly sought-after managerial position. It's not very often that you see a team with this much upside, a team that's accomplished this much already. They were in American League Championship Series, and the job is open. And it's open, not because a manager went to go somewhere better. This is open because they can the guy. So there's going to be a lot of people scratching and clawing for this job because there's a lot of games to be won here in the next few years with this nucleus.
It's amazing to me. This is a classic example of what you do for me yesterday. But this guy produced. Obviously, and so do the Yankees, but he's gone, and they're looking for a new manager in New York as Joe Girardi has let go. Here's the pick'em panel, by the way. Go to this right here, TomTaylorSports.com/football. Good luck because the pick'em panel is up and running till midnight tonight. There's your previous winners. Raymond Tackersley, a two-time winner out of Kingsport. Jerry McNeil, Elizabethan. Tony Briggs, Elizabethan. Brenda Elizabethan. Tracy Clark from Kingsport. Eugene Jeffers from Greenville. And last week's winner should be right there and will be Joel Ragsdale from Kingsport. Works at Food City, and so these folks are your winners from last week. And so let's do a couple of pick and panels real quick. You want to ride with us, you have until midnight tonight because the high school game's obviously tomorrow and the college games are on Saturday. So you have a chance to get there tonight, and all we need is your first name, last name, your address, your email address, just that simple. And good luck. You may win yourself $25. You say, well, I live out of town, because we have a lot of folks watching in West Virginia, back where I'm from. It's okay. If you win, we have postal service. We'll mail you the check, cashier's check. So it's not a problem, right? A couple of college picks. Let's see what you've got. See if we agree on, let's do 3 of these, and we'll take a break. We got Joe Vento waiting in the wings talking Buck football. Tennessee at Kentucky. Who we taking, big dog?
You know, generally I would take Tennessee in this one, because Kentucky always seems to, when they're not, when Tennessee's not good enough to beat Kentucky, Kentucky usually beats themselves. But this year, I mean, Tennessee, man, they can't get out of their own way. So I got to go Kentucky by default.
All right, we're taking Kentucky. I'm right there with him. Georgia, Florida. Good question today. Guy sent me a text after the show and said, why do they play that game in Jacksonville with the big crowd and the gate and all the money could be made? Maybe they have some kind of a split at Jacksonville, but why do they not play it home and away like all the other teams? And I thought it was a great point. It is in Jacksonville. It is a neutral site, quote unquote. But is it Georgia, or are we taking Florida?
We got to go with Georgia in this. I really have a lot of respect for the way they move the ball, the way they score. Florida's defense will challenge them a little bit. I think that'll be interesting to watch. But Florida has no offense. They don't have enough to be able to keep up.
Here's the stat that I thought was interesting to bring to the table. Florida has beaten Georgia 3 times in a row, and they've beaten them 21 out of the last 27 times. So Florida owns them. Joshua Hammond, I had a story on the show yesterday. Joshua Hammond said, quote, we will not lose to Georgia. Our seniors have never lost to Georgia. We're not going to lose again this year, which should be on the bulletin board in Athens. But he said, this is a W for the Gators. Big upset, and boy, it would be too. So they say, or he says, the Gators have got them. Georgia says, we've got them. Gators say we beat you 3 in a row, 21 out of 27. We own you. We're going with Georgia, and I think it'll be the right pick, because the Bulldogs are loaded for bear. They made Tennessee look like a middle school team. Of course, everybody's making Tennessee look like a middle school team.
So some people would argue Butch Jones makes Tennessee look like a middle school team, but I wouldn't say that personally, But definitely a lot to talk about there.
So, here's a stat: 74 yards of total offense. 46 total plays last Saturday against Alabama.
Yeah.
74 total yards. That was it. Third down conversions, 1 for 12. They had 10, count them, 10 yards passing for the ball game against Alabama. 64 rushing, that was it. So I went back and looked. Only one, I won't name the name, only one high school football team last Friday night in Northeast Tennessee had less than 75 yards of total offense. So that's what Tennessee was. Well, it was Alabama. Nah, I ain't buying it.
Yep.
SEC football team, you got to give me more than 64 yards, or 74 yards of offense.
You got to be able to put up a fight.
Good.
I mean, the sad thing is, used to be a rivalry, and they used to, Tennessee would find a way. They would go down there, and there would be, Alabama teams that were better talent-wise. Tennessee found a way to win. I remember a few of them, squeaking them out in the early 90s. Just one of those things that is sad to see that they're struggling as badly as they are now, and I don't think it's going to be allowed to go along much longer without them trying to intervene and change the coaching staff.
Last pick on the college. We got 5. We'll do 3 and then take a break. Georgia Tech at Clemson. Is this a trap game for the Tigers with this triple option? The Georgia Tech offense comes to town, or can Clemson take care of business?
This is going to be a tough game for Clemson. If Clemson can't sustain their own drives, and that remains to be seen how healthy Bryant is and how that all shakes out. This is a Clemson team that, even though they won a championship last year, is starting to feel like a long time ago, because you lose that game to Syracuse, and I just think their confidence level isn't where it was, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. So it's a situation where if Georgia Tech kind of controls it, able to run the ball a lot, they're going to tire that defense down at some point. And, Clemson needs to get some points on the board early, make Georgia Tech play from behind. But I think Clemson will get it done. That being said, but, man, this has the potential to be a really good football game.
I think so, too. It's why it's on the pick-and panel. 2 more games we'll pick a little bit later in the show. Penn State at Ohio State, obviously. At the Shoe in Columbus, Ohio. And also North Carolina State in South Bend, about the Fighting Irish in Notre Dame. Do I sound anything like Keith Jackson? No.
I think you went off the rails early and then just never got. I've heard you do a good one before, though. Yeah. So we'll try it again later when we pick it.
Much later. We'll take a break. We'll be right back, and we will come back and be joined by Joe Vento by phone, talking Buck football against the Wofford Terriers coming to town. We'll do that next year on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City takes care of both male and female customers, but Owner Kim Smith says they have a special care and concern for ladies.
Being a female in what's considered a man's business, I understand the trepidation that women may have when they come to the shop. They feel like they don't know about cars, they might be intimidated, but that's not the way we do business. Everybody's treated the same. We take the time to explain anything that they have questions about, the repair, the process, the part. We want to make sure people are comfortable with what we're going to do to their vehicle and that they understand. We do cater to women in a sense. We have a real nice waiting room with nice Keurig coffee and flavored creamers, air-conditioned, cushioned seats, TV, everything a girl could want while she waits for her car to be fixed.
American Import Auto Repair in Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
Do you need an event catered? At Phil's Dream Pit, we cater for gatherings over 50 people. Weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, company picnics, sporting banquets, to name a few. We can set up, clean up, and of course serve. We also offer value packs that include all the food. You pick that up and serve it yourself. Check out our webpage at philsdreampit.com. That's philsdreampit.com. Phil's Dream Pit, Eastern Star exit on I-26, open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we're a phone call away at 423-349-6437, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
If you're catching some waves or just playing in the yard, it is important to protect yourself. You may not feel the sun's heat, but UV rays can still damage your skin even in cloudy weather. Blue Lizard Sunscreen, recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Our SPF 30-plus formulations use only the highest quality ingredients for broad spectrum protection. As a reminder to protect yourself, our bottle turns blue when UV light is present. Blue Lizard, we've got you covered.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Back with the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. We're live again at Champion Chevrolet in the showroom, of course, on the Bristol Highway Motor Mile, Johnson City. On the phone, there is Joe Avento with the East Tennessee State Wofford Preview. And good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you being on the show. You add so much to our broadcast every week, and we appreciate that. So let's go. Let's talk about it. The Bucs had a week off and cranking up now for Mike Ayers and the Wofford Terriers coming to town and kind of preview this football game. Would you please?
Well, they played it last year. ETSU went down to Spartanburg with a 2-0 record, feeling really good. And they felt even better because they had shut down the option attack of Kennesaw State in the first game. And Wofford put a smacking on it. It was 31-0, and it honestly didn't feel that close. So Wofford's coming into town this year pretty much on a roll. They won their first 6 games. They lost last week in a nail-biter. About every game Wofford plays this year is a nail-biter. Of their 7 games they have played, 6 of them have been decided by a touchdown or less, including last week, when Sanford beat them 24-21, and Sanford kicked the field goal to take the lead in the last minute and a half or so. Wofford moved the ball down the field, and pretty sure they were in field goal range, had a chance to tie the game, and with 6 seconds left, they took one shot at the end zone and got picked off. So they never got a chance to kick the field goal, and that's their only loss. So this team's coming in pretty much the class of the Southern Conference, although that loss made a 3-way tie for first place. So did Logjam at top of the Southern Conference standings.
Yep, and it's a very competitive conference. Of course, several of the teams are staying in the top 20, 25 all year long for the Southern Conference out of the FCS poll. So Mike Ayers comes back to town. He coached at East Tennessee State. Always has an emotional tie here. So needless to say, I would think he'd still, it's been a while since he's been here, but I would think he'd still want to come back in here and get a W for several reasons. One of those, I guess, coming back to Johnson City, he wants to win when he gets back in here, wouldn't you think?
Yep, and he told me last year that he's been gone 3 decades, so it's really just another game now. But it always hasn't been that way. When he left ETSU, things were not going that great, and he wasn't really ready to go. But he got hired at Wofford the next day, and this is 30 years ago, and this will tell you how long I've been doing this. I got a phone call out of the blue that Mike Ayers was leaving ETSU one morning. It was my brother, and I hadn't heard that. So I called his house, and his wife answered and said, he's on his way to Spartanburg. He's being introduced as the head coach at Wofford today. And I thought, oh my gosh, I better get to that press conference. So I jumped in the car, flying over the mountain in Asheville, and who do I pass? No other than Mike Ayers. So I blew my horn, and he pulled over to the side of the road and gave me my own personal press conference.
Did he really?
And he really did. I passed him going over the mountain in Asheville, or to Asheville. So, but I did continue on to Spartanburg, and back then Wofford was an NAIA school. In fact, in Mike Ayers' last season at ETSU, they played Wofford, and they only beat him 10-6. It was one of the uglier games of the year. But he's taken that program from NAIA to Division II to Division I AA, which is now FCS, and he's made the playoffs 7 times. They were ranked 5th in the country last week before they lost, and now they're 10th coming in this week. So, yeah, it's a special week for him to play ETSU, and there's some guys on the ETSU staff that played for him and coached with him. Billy Taylor, the defensive coordinator, was a linebacker on Mike Ayers' last team, and he coached down there in Spartanburg. So there's a lot of connections between the school. But the bottom line is they want to win just because it's the next game, and they're 4-1, and they're in good position to make the playoffs.
Yep, back in the day when we were doing the Bucks, so they were 0-10, and they turned around the next year and 0-10-1, as a matter of fact. Then the following year went 6-5, biggest turnaround in the history of Division I football that year. And so he was anticipating a multi-year contract. He did not get one at that point. ETSU would only give 1-year contracts at a time, and so he wanted a multi-year contract for what he had done. ETSU said, we're not prepared to do that, so he said, I'm prepared to move on to Wofford. So he did. So I was around then. That was the background of that particular story. But anyway, he's coming to town, and he's got a very, very good football team, ranked top 10 in the country. What must the Buccaneers do to get a big, big quality win and get people's attention nationwide by beating Wofford on Saturday?
Well, first and foremost, they're going to have to stop the option. It's easy to say all you have to do to stop the option is to do your assignment, because that's what it comes down to. If one person tries to do something else, it leaves an opening for big plays. And you say do your own assignment, which sounds good if there were chess pieces, but there's guys hitting you, and there's guys cutting at your legs, and it makes it impossible at sometimes. So they got to stop that option, which isn't easy to do. The Citadel kind of came in here and ran it pretty well, so ETSU is a little susceptible to that. If they do stop that, they got a chance, because you'd like to force Wofford into having to throw the ball. When Wofford does throw the ball, when they want to, they are incredible. They're averaging top 3 in the country in yards per reception. It's something ridiculous, like 18 or 20 yards. And but if you make them in 3rd and long where they have to throw it and you're defending the pass, then they're beatable. But they don't get in that position too often.
We're talking to Joe Vento again from the Johnson City Press, again bringing us the ETSU Wofford preview. So after this game, the Buccaneers, of course, things are beginning to wind down a little bit, but who's left on their schedule for ETSU football?
Well, VMI will come into town the following week, and then after that, there's road games at Chattanooga and Sanford. And I forget the order of those two. I don't have it in front of me, but that's how they ended on the road with those two. And surprisingly, at this time last year, Chattanooga was ranked, and they're 1-7 right now. So maybe ETSU feels like they have a chance to win those last two on the road. Sanford's still ranked pretty high. I was thinking they have a chance to beat VMI and Chattanooga, and then they'd have to surprise Sanford, because Sanford's ranked in the top 20 again.
We're talking to Joe Vento again. He's with us live on the phone. Again, coming up a little bit later on, we're going to check in with, we got Kevin Harmon coming up talking Tennessee, Kentucky football. Chris McCall previewing the Hokies and Duke. You look at the standings this week. You got James Madison number 1 out of the Southern Conference. Sanford in number 8. You've got Wofford at 10. Going down through, let me see who else. I don't have my glasses on, but it looks like that would be it out of the Southern Conference this week. So
Furman's starting to receive some votes now too. That wouldn't be surprised if they get another win to find them in the poll next week. They're actually the hottest team in the league right now.
So if you had to grade this team right now, A, B, C, or D, in your humble opinion, Joe Vento, what would you give the grade to East Tennessee State football?
Well, it depends. If you're grading it just against what you were expecting, then I wouldn't give them a very bad grade. Overall, I'd say they're a C. They've beaten some teams and they've lost some teams. They're about where I expected them to be this year. I thought matching last year's record might be a little difficult, because last year they played some pretty low-level non-conference games that they didn't get this year, and they replaced that with the number 1 team in the country. So I already anticipated the non-conference record being a little bit different. And last year they beat Sanford, which was nationally ranked at the time. So that was hard to duplicate. So I would give them a C, and with room to go up. There's still 3 games left, or 4 games. I'm sorry, there's 4 games left. So they still got room to get up to a B, and if they get hot, maybe even higher. But they're about where I thought they would be.
Always a key piece of the puzzle going forward is the recruiting. Of course, there is signing dates now, December and February. NCAA's added a December signing date. So what are you hearing on the grapevine about recruiting for Buck football?
At this level, you just don't hear all that much, because a lot of those players that they get, they're waiting to see what's out there. I don't think a whole lot of people know exactly what they're going to get until signing day. I do know there's some local guys that they have their eyes on that have committed other places that I've heard, but really, I don't really look too much at the recruiting until they start signing them, because a lot of those kids want to go to SEC schools and ACC schools, and they kind of wait and see. So,
we got rain coming Saturday, apparently a lot of it, so that may or may not hamper the crowd, but it's been a great 12th man all season long at home for Buccaneer football, has it not?
It has. I did a little research, and I think they're 4th in the conference in attendance, which is pretty darn good, especially when you're averaging more people at the games than you have seats, because they're still averaging between 82 and 8,400, and Green Stadium only has 7,600 seats, so that's been good. And it'd be too bad if it rains like it's supposed to, because they still have not gotten that typical fall crisp afternoon where the leaves are changing, because right now either they've had rain or just searing heat. So they got a couple of home games left. Maybe the VMI game will get a nice fall day.
There you go. We'll see. Joe Vento will read about it in Sunday's paper, the edition of the Johnson City Press. Thank you, my friend, as always, and hey, we'll talk to you next week, all right?
Okay, Tom, thank you.
Yes, sir. Great job again. Joe Vento, again, giving us the East Tennessee State Wofford preview. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back, and we've got Chris McCall ahead talking Hokie football. We've got Andy Dietrich, co-owner of Champion Chevrolet. We've got Dave Anju, just settled back into the seat here. Hey, let him, we'll go into some more. Let's do those, as a matter of fact. Let's do a couple of more picks of what we've got on the picking panel. And again, let me hit the page for you. Get right there. TomTaylorSports.com/football. You win yourself $25. We'll announce the winner on Tuesday of next week. And so here we go. We got a couple of more picks in the college ranks. We picked Kentucky to beat Tennessee. We picked 5 high school and 5 college a week. We picked Georgia to beat Florida. We picked Clemson to beat Georgia Tech. North Carolina State at Notre Dame. Who do we like, big guy?
Oh, it's going to be a good ball game. I think I've really seen a lot of Notre Dame. I think what they did last week to USC, pretty impressive. Seems like they're big games this year. They're getting to play those games at home, and sometimes it falls that way, and that's the way it falls this week. And I think Notre Dame's going to get a win there. Not out of the question, though, after this week. for NC State to possibly run the table and be a title contender in the ACC. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm going to ride with you on this because we're a two-headed monster, but deep down I think North Carolina State's going to give them a game. They may pull off the upset. They're they're kind of riding under the radar of the Florida State, or Florida State's having a tough season, but under Clemson and Louisville and Virginia Tech, and they're quietly sitting there in Georgia Tech, and so they're having a pretty good run. But we'll stick with Notre Dame, but don't be surprised in my book if we wake up Sunday morning and see Notre Dame got knocked off, because NC State, I think, it's for real. I think they're a really good football team.
They are. They really have a solid team this year, and I think they've been showing that. And big tests, like we talk about, big games happen during the regular season. Starting to see more of them, and this week's a huge one.
I think the edge will go to Notre Dame because they're in South Bend coming up on Saturday. The other one, the biggest one, I guess, on the college football schedule, the final of the 5 picks in college, Penn State at Ohio State at the Shoe in Columbus, Ohio. Nittany Lions took your Michigan guys and gave them a pretty good thumping the other night, last weekend. So Ohio State or Penn State in Columbus?
You know, it's I think Penn State really rode that wave that they had at home to a win. It's going to be interesting to see if they can take that same momentum into Ohio State. You know, the one thing about Penn State this past week is they put a lot of plays on film that they hadn't shown all year, you know, in order to get that big early lead and win that ball game. So Ohio State's going to know what's coming. But, you know, I still think, and this is amazing, this Penn State offense, what happened to them, the transformation they made during last season. I think they're great. I think they're good enough, and they're going to go in there and get the win. And, you know, this huge game here, because you look at this one, I think the winner of this game is going to be in the college football playoff. I think it's that big of a game. The loser is not going to go. So, yeah, big time, big ramifications. But I think James Franklin's done an excellent job, and I think they get the job done.
Penn State wins on the road at the Shoe against Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, again, go to that website. Good luck. First name, last name, town you're from, and email address, all we need. And just go down there and click. You can see when you go to that website, it'll be there for you. And tell us who you think's going to win. We're taking Kentucky, Georgia, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Clemson. We'll also come back and pick the high school picks, and we'll take a break, come right back, and when we do, we'll let Dave jump in and talk about the Region 1 6A, the Big East Conference. Science will off this week, but some big ones tomorrow night. One tonight, as a matter of fact, and we'll let him tell you all about that coming up next year. We're live at Champion Chevrolet, the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. And don't forget the 2000, not 17s, but the 18s. Chevrolet tracks are in. You walk in these doors, $4,500 off sticker price for a 2018 Equinox. How about that? Or a 2018 Trax, $4,500 off the Trax and $6,000 off the Equinox. There you go. 2018 Trax, $4,500 off the sticker. 2018 Equinox, $6,000 off the sticker. You know, you walk in that door and you whack $6,000 off a car. That's pretty significant, my friend.
Yeah, definitely so. It's a lot of good deals going on right now, and good people down here. We deal with them a lot. You know, we're here week in and week out, and always nice to visit them. Always nice to talk football with them. You know, so if you come down here, you got car shopping anyway. You want to talk football with somebody. These guys know their stuff. Come down here, visit, see what they have to sell, and yeah, definitely a lot of fun.
Tell us about this show. Like it and share it. Is that the key?
Like it and share it. That's the thing on Facebook. You know, if you found us on here, share it with the world. You know, I mean, it'd be wonderful to have more people listening in, and definitely like and share on Tom's Facebook page, and we'll spread the word. I'm telling you, it's fun to do and very informative.
Yep, a lot of folks tell us they watch it again on Fridays, some on Saturdays, Saturday mornings, but the high school stuff will be done by them. And coming up next, he'll talk 6A football. We'll come by and give you the top performers in the region in several different statistical categories: rushing, passing, touchdowns, tackles, sacks, interceptions. Got all that for you. Compliments of the Johnson City Press. Do that coming up next year at the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
At American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City, one of the things that owner Tim Smith is most proud of is their hard-earned certifications.
We are an ASE Blue Seal shop, which is important because what it tells the customer is we care enough to get certified, not in one certain area of cars. You have to be certified in 8 different certifications, in 8 different tests you have to take, and you have to be updated on them yearly to make sure that you're up to date. We not only have one of those, we have 3 ASE Master Technicians here. With the ratio, goes into a ratio, and we're a Blue Seal shop, so it tells you that we care about training and we care about knowing about your car. We want to help fix it right.
American Import and Auto Repair, West Market Street, Johnson City, home of the free loaner car program. Open 6 days a week. Call today, 913-3111.
Hi, I'm Rob Cole with Bays Mountain Park. There's something for everyone at Bays Mountain Park. Whether you're an outdoor enthusiast or simply looking to get away and relax, Bays Mountain Park in Kingsport, Tennessee is the perfect destination. For only $4 per vehicle, enjoy 3,500 acres of breathtaking scenery, featuring 40 miles of hiking trails, wildlife habitat, one of the Southeast's premier planetariums, and much, much more. For more information, please visit www.baysmountain.com or call us at 423-229-9447. Bays Mountain Park, one of the Tri-City's best places for learning, leisure, and recreation.
If you're catching some waves or just playing in the yard, it is important to protect yourself. You may not feel the sun's heat, but UV rays can still damage your skin even in cloudy weather. Blue Lizard Sunscreen, recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Our SPF 30-plus formulations use only the highest quality ingredients for broad spectrum protection. As a reminder to protect yourself, our bottle turns blue when UV light is present. Blue Lizard, we've got you covered.
Your life is always changing. You never know what shape it will take, or how your financial needs might change. But if we talk about your investments and how they can provide for you and your family, the future becomes clear. At Wells Fargo Advisors, we believe conversation leads to financial clarity. Let's start a conversation today.
Welcome back to the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview. Going to talk some high school football now. Hard to believe, but we're in the final week of the regular season. Coming up, there's some big games this week, a lot on the line. Teams are starting to look ahead toward the playoffs next week. And to talk about all of it, we have our friend Doug Fritz in here from the Johnson City Press. Doug, how's it going?
Pretty good. Just winging it.
Just winging it. Man, I know that feeling. That's definitely a familiar feeling over this way. So I guess we'll jump right into it here. I mean, we got a lot of good football this week, a lot on the line. Interesting game when you take a look at Chucky Doak and West Green this week. A couple teams had some big wins throughout this season. How do you see that one turning out tomorrow night?
Well, you would certainly think West Green would have the upper hand if you just look at based on how things have gone this season. But that's such a rivalry, and Chucky Doak's, year in, year out has handled West Green pretty good. So, I think it's going to be a battle. I think West Green's the favorite, but I think it's going to be a tight ball game. I think it actually could go either way.
Yeah, that West Green game against Unicoi County is the one that kind of opened my eyes to them a little bit. Surprised me the way they played in that football game. And it seems to be a situation, too, where that's a football team that kind of picked up a lot of momentum possibly in that ball game moving forward.
Yeah, and when you get to this point in the season too, and these teams, the one thing you don't know is how beat up these teams are. Have they got a key player who's out there running around on a bad ankle, trying to do the best they can at key spots, and then you throw a rivalry into the mix, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah. Definitely so, and looking at Daniel Boone coming up this week against Cherokee, and they're on the road for that game. Two teams right now, kind of riding a little bit of a high. You look at Cherokee and how well they played a week ago. Boone, obviously, not only did they win their first ever conference title in football in school history, which is hard to believe, but they did it in a rivalry game, and now they haven't locked up. There's really nothing on the line this week. So if you're Boone and you're going down to Cherokee, do you try to keep the momentum going, or do you be very careful with your quarterback Noah Shelton and very careful with Charlie Cole, who's had kind of the hamstring deal all year?
Well, I mean, Cole's it's a little bit different with him because of that type of injury that he has. But I can't imagine Jeremy Jenkins going into that situation thinking it'd be okay to lose in week 11 and then go into the playoffs and expect your team to respond and say, well, we got beat and we're ready to just bounce back in there. I mean, I know what happened against Science Hill earlier this year and with those two guys out, but momentum's such a fickle thing. I don't think you can play around with it. I think you got to go down there and try and win that football game. Now, if you give Charlie Cole 8 carries instead of 16 carries, I understand that, but you play to win the game.
Yeah, this is the debate they have every year. You normally hear it on the NFL level because there are teams that lock it up in advance, and we've seen teams shut it down and they just can't turn that switch back on. And I would imagine with high school players, that's more of a concern with them.
Well, it is. I mean, Dallas did that last year. Talk about the NFL, and then and you see what happens there. Sometimes it's a mental thing. Momentum is a mental thing that's very important in football, and there's a momentum of the game, there's momentum of the week leading up to the game, and then there's momentum of going forward to the next game. And me personally, I'm not going to risk going into the playoffs thinking, well, I just sat my key guys and I got beat. And Cherokee will beat them bad. If they just sat out all their key players, Cherokee will beat them bad because Cherokee can score points. So you can tell your kids, hey, we got beat 52-20 by Cherokee, and that's okay. I just can't see that. I think you got to go in and play hard.
Yeah, definitely. And Cherokee is a team, up this way in the Tri-Cities area. They're kind of on the periphery down there, so a lot of folks don't think about Cherokee much. But man, they came up to the Tri-Cities and made kind of a statement against a pretty good Tennessee High team. What is it about Cherokee that's so dangerous, and what makes them tick?
Well, I think it starts with their quarterback. Colin Trent's had an outstanding season, and Jake Salyer there in the backfield, and I think it also has to do with Cody Ball, coaching. I mean, I just think it's just a lot of elements there, and this is a team that wants to score points, and this is a team that, from the outside looking in, this is a team that lines up and says, hey, we think we can outscore you. You may score on us, but we're going to try and outscore you, and that's what they did against Tennessee High last week. And even if Boone comes with guns blazing, I think Cherokee's got the type of team. If Boone doesn't play well, Cherokee could outscore them. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's a game to keep an eye on to see. These Boone's in good shape. Cherokee's fighting to get in there, and Crockett's fighting to get in there, and Morristown East. It's a good mix.
Yeah, looking at moving on to Elizabethton now. A team that's had an excellent season. Obviously, came out of the wrong end of the Greenville game. But a lot of momentum for them, and they go into a game at Sullivan Central. Obviously, really overmatched opponent, it looks like on paper there. What's Elizabethton going out and trying to accomplish this week?
Well, if they take the same approach they did against Union County, they'll sit a lot of people, and that's a little bit different than what Boone's facing, because Boone's facing a team that needs to win, wants to win, and can beat them, whereas Elizabethton's playing a team that hasn't won a game. They're looking at a 30-game losing streak, and pretty much Elizabethton could honestly take 50% of their key players and sit them on the sidelines, and I think they'll do that. I think that they'll let Carter Everett throw it around a little bit and build a 21-point lead, and then they'll sit everybody. But that's going to be their kind of approach, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing about that, though, you talk about sitting them. The difference between Boone maybe not sitting their players and not wanting to lose that momentum. Is there a risk for Elizabethton if they do that, maybe losing a little bit of the momentum? That offense that they run, obviously a lot of timing involved in that. By taking it easy, if they do that this week, does that hurt them at all?
Well, no, and that's why I think, if you just sat everybody out and then just, said, okay, we'll be happy with the 16-7 win with our JV team or whatever the case is, you would lose some momentum on your timing plays and your passing games. That's why they'll come out and they'll throw the ball and they'll work on little timing pass plays, and they'll make sure Carter Everett's sharp going into the playoffs. But you remember last year, Carter Everett got hurt in the last game of the regular season, didn't play in the playoffs. So I don't think he's going to be running the football a whole lot tomorrow night, and I don't think he's going to be in there for a huge amount of the time. So there's some different factors you got to weigh in there, but Elizabethton's not in danger of losing any momentum by losing this game because, barring just a shocking turn of events, they should be able to win regardless of what their approach is.
Yeah, there's really no mystery to how hard the two teams are going to go down at Crockett. A lot on the line. Morristown East coming in there and playing against the Pioneer team that came out last week and really was cohesive, really played well. A lot of people were wondering, kind of what that was going to look like. But they went into that rivalry game against a really good Boone squad. They were there. They drove down the field near the end of the game and had a chance to potentially tie that thing up. So Pioneer's looking pretty good. Huge football game. What do you expect out of that one tomorrow?
Well, it's going to be interesting. Crockett's not going to have all their weapons. They're not going to have the Collie boys for the rest of the season, and they've still got plenty of weapons there, plenty of good receivers, and they're going to throw it all over the park. And as long as they just play at least average defense, they should be okay. But now Morristown East, Crockett's not had a lot of success against them through the years, so Crockett still has to go out and play. And Larkins is going to have a big game, and they're going to have to do a lot of good things offensively to win this football game.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting when you start looking at those teams in Region 1-5A. A pretty good logjam of two-loss football teams. When you look at the standings there, so definitely a lot of scoreboard watching as well. I would imagine as teams try to see who's gonna get in the playoffs. Now that's all going to shake out.
Yeah, and I was talking to Nick Lingerfeld today. He said, "Hey, we control our own destiny, and that's what we're looking at. We win, we're in the playoffs." That's their approach and mindset at Crockett. But they also know that if Daniel Boone wants to help them out and beat Cherokee, they're in that way too. So, a couple of doors there if Crockett wants to go in, on a winning note, talking about momentum. And you look at that other region down there. There's a reason to believe that David Crockett could win a playoff game, but they got to get there first.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big mystery tomorrow. It's going to be fun to see how that shakes out because, again, a lot of teams in the mix there, and that's what the last week of the high school regular season is all about, all that mystery and who's going to make it. And, look at over at the big rivalry in Sullivan County, Sullivan South and Sullivan North playing each other, kind of a South team that they can kind of go to the air and do things that way. North likes to just grind it out, kind of a contrast of styles in that game.
Well, and I saw Sullivan South, and I was impressed with some things I saw out of them. And I think Sullivan North's going to have their hands full with Ethan Ward. He's a terrific little athlete back there. And I looking at that game, not having seen Sullivan North with my own eyes, I kind of think that South's got a shot. Should be able to beat them. But I'm not trying to sell Peyton Robinson or J.J. Flynn or any of those boys at North short because I know that's a very good football team, and I think North's got a chance to go into the playoffs and make a little bit of noise. 2 levels down from South, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Last game on the docket this week for us, looking at Unicoi County and Johnson County, and Unicoi County with 1 loss, Johnson County undefeated. Obviously, a Blue Devil win here could really shake things up quite a bit. What are their prospects of going up there and getting it done?
Before they lost to West Green, I would have said 50-50 or maybe even 55-45. But losing to West Green the way they lost, got behind early, I just don't have quite the same feel for Unicoi going into this game. Johnson County, Don Curley was like a breath of fresh air when he talked about what this trying to go 10-0 means to his program when I talked to him today. And usually gets that coach speak, and it's like, it's just the next game. We're just trying to go 1-0. He didn't say any of that stuff. Johnson County's taking this game seriously, not only to wrap up a region championship, make sure nothing weird happens to where they get bumped out of that top spot, but they want to go 10-0. This means a lot to them up Mountain City, and I think that's the factor that's going to make it even tougher for Unicoi County to go up there and get a win.
Yeah, it's that's one of many good games on the docket this week. Going to be a lot of scoreboard watching by a lot of people, a lot of stuff going on. But Doug, as always, I appreciate your report and your expertise, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks a bunch, Dave. Y'all take care.
All right, absolutely. That was our good buddy Doug Fritz there, just an expert on the high school football scene. He's got his fingers on the pulse, and definitely a lot of good football games coming up tomorrow night. Tom, if you want to, we can talk about the individual leaders in high school football. If you want to jump on in here.
Yes, we can, and we do have some individual leaders, and we want to talk about that. Of course, we've got them here, and we're live, as we said, inside the studio, inside the showroom the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Coming up, Andy Dietrich will join us, top of the hour. Again, our buddy will be joining us, and that would be my man Carmichael will be joining my buddy right here, Dave Angie, with the preview of the top 5 college football games of the week. Let's take a look at some offensive stuff. Again, you look at this, Dave Angie, the offensive leaders right now. I got some guys putting up some incredible numbers. This is compliments, by the way, of the Johnson City Press and primarily Doug Fritz, I believe. So, yards rushing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys over 1,000 yards already going into Week 10.
Yep. A lot of offense this year. A lot of offense. A lot of good players as well.
Yep, let's run them down. Jacob Bunch, Granger County, 1,457 yards. Jordan Coffey from Cloudland, 1,446. Jalen Adams, Science Hill, they're off this week. Adams with 1,337. Hunter Davenport, the Hampton Bulldogs, 1,217. Ian Hicks of Dobbins Minute with 1,201 yards of rushing. Then you have Ethan Ward at 1121. You got some guys right on the bubble. 922. You got to feel like next week in the first round of the playoffs, Amik Watterson will hit it. He's got 922 for Science Hill. Corey Russell, 118 yards away from 1,000. He has 882. They'll play tomorrow night at Sullivan Central. Again, you hate to poo-poo the Central Cougars with our winless football team. You got to feel like Corey Russell has a shot at getting those kind of yardage tomorrow night.
Yeah, definitely, and it depends on how many carries he gets, but I would anticipate he'll at least get 100 yards and maybe shut it down a little bit early. And then, of course, I see Elizabethton playing a couple playoff games at least.
Noah Shelton, the last guy we feel like right now has got a shot. He's got 865 yards rushing from Daniel Boone. Yards passing, I mean, I'm looking down the guys, at least 1,000 yards. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 guys with at least 1,000 yards passing so far this season. Is that number, I mean, you've been covering high school for a long time. Does that seem like a high number, 11 guys with at least 1,000 yards passing the ball?
It's kind of the evolution of the game. You know, we've seen it for a while. You know, back in the old days, you know, when I was in high school in ancient times, a lot of teams would run the wishbone or the eye and just pound it at you. Now they all spread it out. Everybody spreads it and throws the ball all over creation, which is fun to watch, and it's creating a lot more passing yards.
Here are the leading passers. Cade Larkins of Crockett, an incredible year, 2,463 yards, going to their game tomorrow night against Morristown East. Carter Everett set the school record last week, 431 yards in a game. It's kind of funny because the guy he beat has been giving him some all week long, because the guy he beat is his head coach, Sean Witten. So he said, what is this stuff when I'm beating the old man, the coach, as the all-time leading passer in yards per game? And they've had a good chuckle about it all week long. But 431 on the evening and 2,073 for Carter this season. Lyndon Redwine, Dobbins Minute, 1,844. Cade Ballard of Greenville, 1,836 yards passing. Jalen Adams, Science Hill, 1,590. So you take Adams rushing the football, 1,337, and passing the football, 1,590, well over, 2,900 yards of total offense.
Yeah, definitely.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. Yeah, and he's the dual threat guy, and that's they use that, they throw that around a lot, but for him, he's so balanced, throwing and passing yardage, that you really don't know what's happening when they're going to snap the ball.
Another guy that's over 1,000 yards passing, John Ramsey of Unaka, which is unique because it's a football team that's really struggling. Again, Unaka going to the ball game tomorrow night is 1-8. And Ramsey, again, with 1,531 yards passing. Colin Trent, Cherokee, 1,422. Nathan Arnold from Johnson County, the Longhorn quarterback, 1,408. Alec Daughtery from West Green, 1,163 yards. Brock Thompson from Unicoi County with 1,007. Peyton Robinson of Sullivan North with 1,004. A couple of guys that should get it this week. Ethan Ward of Sullivan South with 977 yards passing. And there you get Noah Shelton. Again, he is right on the cusp of going 1,000 in rushing. Well, he's got 927 in passing. So obviously Noah Shelton's having a heck of a year as the quarterback for Jeremy Jenkins and Daniel Boone. He is easily within reach of going over 1,000 in rushing and passing.
Yeah, and he's stayed healthy all year. That's been the key for him. He missed one game due to illness against Science Hill, and other than that, you know, he's been steady, the real rock, the real leader of that team, and has been for 2 years.
Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show coming up. Co-owner Andy Dietrich joins us in a few minutes. Passing touchdowns. Carter Everett leads everybody from Elizabeth with 26. Cade Ballard, Greenville, 25. Peyton Robinson, Sullivan North, 20. Cade Larkins, Crockett, 18. John Ramsey, Unaka, 17. And Alec Daughtery of West Green and Nathan Arnold of Johnson County, 14 each. And I guess you're seeing, we used to talk about all the rushing and very little passing and yards receiving. So the game, it's the evolution of the high school football game, right?
Yeah, I remember, I guess it was early 90s, they had some Sullivan South teams that if that ball went in the air, that's the headline. That was breaking news right there. South threw a forward pass. You remember some of those teams back in the day, and they were highly effective on the ground, but the game's changed. They kind of sling it.
Top 5 receivers going into the ball games tomorrow night. Blake Isaacs of Unaka, 730 yards. Ryan Wetzel, Elizabethton, 702. Seth Crawford of Greenville, 667. Evan Perkins of Elizabethton, 648. And Jonas Leeper of Cherokee, your top 5 receivers at 644 yards receiving. In the field goal department, this guy's automatic, literally. Eli Shepard, Greenville, 47 out of 47.
Yeah, definitely. Great kicker.
From Sullivan South, Lyric Schmidt, who is a lady, a female, 39 out of 43. Cade Gray from Daniel Boone, 35 for 39. Jared Kimball, Johnson County, 34 for 37. And Dawson Walker of Cherokee is 33 out of 39 and extra points. Then you got field goals. Dave Angie, Drew Miller from Dobbins Minute, 5 for 6. Eli Shepard of Greenville, 3 for 4. Jackson Holly of Elizabethton, 2 for 3. Manu Katal, I don't think I'm saying it right, from West Green, 2 for 4. Lyric Schmidt of Sullivan South, 2 for 4. So again, the kicking game, particularly this time of year going into colder weather, I talked about this before, trying to kick a football in 35, 40-degree weather is like kicking a cinder block. So the special teams really will step up and play big part of these playoff games coming up.
Yeah, definitely. And you notice these numbers of the amount of field goal attempts. Nobody, I don't think, has tried more anywhere near 10. It's single digits for these, and they go for it a lot. And I've noticed that listening to a lot of high school games on Friday nights this year. You kind of flip around the dial, and it seems like if it's 4th and 5, 4th and 6, man, those coaches are rolling the dice nowadays, and they spread the field and try to get that first down, try to score touchdowns, and I think that's reflected in these stats here. A lot of yards, a lot of scoring this season.
One more offensive stat, and then we'll switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Total points, Jacob Bunch Granger, 138 points. Jordan Coffey Cloudland, 122. Jalen Adams of Science Hill, 116 total points. Hunter Davenport of Hampton with 114. You got 4 guys with 96. Gage Hampton, Johnson County. Ryan Wetzel, Elizabethton. Noah Shelton, Daniel Boone. And Braden Sams of Happy Valley. Those 4 guys have got 96 points to themselves in scoring. And the last one we'll throw at you, Julian Lane from West Green with 90 points. So pretty good. When you get up to 100 points yourself individually, that means you're doing something, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. And there's some players you see on that list that are being depended upon by their teams quite a bit. Jalen Adams is one of those guys. And, the challenge as we start looking ahead to the playoffs is, finding a way to allow those guys to make plays when opposing defenses are going to be keying on them, and that's always fun to watch.
Carmichael joins us coming up next, and we'll be joined by Andy Dietrich. Defensively, you look at the top 5 tacklers right now, heading into tomorrow night, the final game of the regular season. Owen Nicholson, Unicoi County, 120 tackles this season. Hayden Osborne, Johnson County, 119. Carter Reynolds, Cherokee, 118. Bryson Street of Unaka at 110. Michael Smith, Unicoi County. Dakota Cochran, Happy Valley with 109. And Connor Smith of Cherokee with 102. Tyler Norris of Johnson County with 98. And Arthur James of Science Hill with 95. That's flying to the football, my friend.
Yeah, definitely so. Big tackle numbers. And, coaches call that having a nose for the football. And there's definitely some players that kind of know where the play is going to be and just dive on in there.
A couple more defensive stats, the tackles for loss, or TFL if you will. Leading tackler for loss is tied between Michael Smith of Unicoi County and Zach Taylor. He's got to be good, that last name. As I said last night, the guy for the Dodgers. So anyway, Taylor's got to be good. No relation, just cutting up. Smith and Taylor, 14. Austin Cox, Daniel Boone, 13. Peyton Nichols of Daniel Boone, 13 tackles for loss. Matthew Hatcher, Unicoi County, and Jacques Gillespie Taylor from Greenville with 11 tackles for loss. And in the double digits, we go with Cujo, Cameron Coleman, Elizabethton, Austin Odell, Unicoi County, Shane Armstrong, Unicoi County, all with 10 tackles for loss. In the sack department, your leading guy with sacks, Riley Grills of Sullivan South with 12. Hayden Osborne, Johnson County with 8. Jordan Eads King from Johnson County with 7. Mark Lemke and Peyton Nichols. Lemke from Granger. Peyton Nichols from Daniel Boone with 6 each. Interceptions, Julian Lane of West Green with 6. Nathan Lane, Johnson County, 5. Shane Austin, Science Hill. Seth Crawford, Greenville. Matt Diminick, Dobbins Midget. C.J. Carter, Daniel Boone, all with 4. And fumble recoveries still remains Zach Copenhaver, Science Hill with 3. Dalton McLean, Greenville with 3. Austin Anderson, West Green, and Hayden Osborne with Johnson County, all with 3 fumble recoveries each. And so that's your statistical look at individuals in a team game so far here in 2017 in high school football. So there's a lot of great names out there.
Yeah, definitely. And, you were talking about tackles for loss and sacks, and such a big thing in high school football to be able to kind of, I guess the term that coaches use now is get the other team off schedule. If you get them back there 2nd and long, 3rd and long, definitely increases your chances of getting the opposing offense off the field. Because as we were talking about on the offensive side, a lot of prolific football teams. But when you get them in obvious passing situations, definitely makes the job a lot easier for the defense.
The 2017 Chevrolet Malibus here at Champion Chevrolet, 23% off the sticker as you walk in the door. Also, 2017 Sonic, got to get them out of here. The 18s are here. 25% off the 2017 Sonics here at Champion Chevrolet on the Bristol Highway Motor Mile. With our buddy Tim Copenhaver saying simply, how did they do that? It's been, again, a good month. It's the #1 selling Chevrolet dealership from Mountain City to Memphis and Memphis to Mountain City. So those are some of the specials. Of course, you can shop them online 24/7 at championjc.com. Quick break. We'll come right back, and Dave's will talk to our buddy Carmichael. The top 5 college football games of the week. There's some good ones. We have some of those on the picking panel. We'll see if what I picked jives what Carmichael picks, and we'll do that next year as we're live at Champion Chevrolet on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
Truck Month continues at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City with unbelievable savings on a selection of over 500 new Chevys to choose from. 17 Silverado Crew Cab All-Star, $11,000 off MSRP. 18 Equinox, $6,000 off MSRP. 18 Trax, $4,500 off MSRP. 23% off 17 Cruisin' Malibu. 25% off 17 Sonic and Spark LS. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue. Do you like pulled pork? At Phil's, the pulled pork is cooked low and slow. We cook it all night, but we serve it fast. Our pulled pork is hickory smoked, tender and juicy. We serve the pork either as a sandwich on a bun or platter style with garlic toast. And don't forget to try our pork wings. They taste like a cross between ham and our sweet ribs. It comes as a meal, as an add-on, or part of our meat sampler platters. Pulled pork and pork wings. Just 2 great reasons to stop by Phil's Dream Pit. Eastern Star exit off I-26, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
I'm Tom Taylor, you are
Dave Angie.
And we got coming up, it's a really cool, every Thursday, it's the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Get you ready for high school and college football every week. Every Thursday, you're going to be covering what for us?
Be looking at the Big East Conference.
Ooh, that would be Dobbins, Science Hill, and all those great football teams in that conference. Doug Fritz will be giving you the rest of the high school football picture every week. Then we got colleges covered. Who are we going to be covering?
We got ETSU. We have Tennessee. We have Virginia Tech.
All those. Carmichael's will be along to give us the big 5 games every week because it is a 5-star football preview show. So hope you'll join us every Thursday right here in the showroom at Champion Chevrolet. Dave and I will be co-hosting the Champion Chevrolet 5-star football preview. And then on top of all that, we're going to have a picking panel where you're going to match us against you and you against us, and I can't wait because they don't have a chance. You're going to go up against us. We're going to pick against you for some really cool prizes, and they don't have a chance, do they?
No chance at all. It's going to be fun times.
Oh, yeah. Putting toe to what?
Toe to the leather, man.
Toe to the leather,
Ready
man.
to go.
Ready to go. Can't wait. Again, join us every Thursday right here. It's a Maiden Voyage Cool Show, co-hosted by Dave Angie and myself. It's the Champion Chevrolet 5-star football preview coming up every Thursday right here from Champion Chevrolet on the Bristol Motor Mile in Johnson City. Can't wait to see you on the show.
Welcome back to the Champion Chevrolet 5-star football preview. For our big 5 college football games of the week, we have our man Carmichael on the phone. Carmichael, how you doing?
I am doing great. Considering all the travels, and Tom and I talked about when I was on earlier today, I've been between Black Mountain and Franklin, Tennessee, seems like 4 or 5 times since Sunday, but it's been like 3 times, twice since Sunday. So a little punch happy tonight, but we're going to have some fun. You got some great college, especially it's Saturday afternoon. Now, last week we said, go out and enjoy the sunshine. There's no college football games, especially during the daytime on. Well, this weekend, it's be at home at 3:30 for the most part Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, be at home at 3:30 and fire up as many screens as you can at the same time, because it seems like everybody's playing all at once, and there's a lot of really big implications in those games.
This is the first week we're going to be coming to the selection committee. Will announce their first week selections on Tuesday. So this is a big week, and this can make or break possibly championship contenders coming up this weekend.
Yeah, definitely so. And you talked about, during the break we were chatting, and you said we're going to debut a show within the show this week. You want to tell everybody what we're doing?
Yeah, we're this week, just because it's kind of been one of those weeks, the old Leonard's Loser Show. I don't even know if Leonard Post-Toasty is still around, but for many years that was on the radio every Saturday before the games. Leonard would do a kind of a funny bit, and then he would go, Leonard's Loser, and instead of picking the winner, he would pick the loser. Well, this week for the 5 games, we're going to call it Spanky's Loser. So Spanky's Loser will be, Spanky's Loser. So that's how we'll go. That's how we'll roll this week with these 5 games.
Well, that sounds great. It's definitely going to be real. We talk about the implications of these games, but I think Penn State, Ohio State, just jumping into that one first, the winner of this game, I think, really has a huge inside track of going to the college football playoff. When you look at what's ahead for both of those teams, this is just a huge collision this week. So who's going to be Spanky's loser in this one?
This week, Spanky's loser is going to be Ohio State, but it's going to be a good game. I mean, it's at Ohio State. Both teams, this is a game that's going to be decided in the trenches. Both teams have outstanding defensive lines. Both have pretty good offensive lines. Can the offensive line give the stars you've got 2 stars in the game, Saquon Barkley. The only FBS player with at least 250 yards rushing, receiving, and return yardage, and J.T. Barrett. J.T. Barrett's not only he's a dual threat at quarterback. He's thrown for over 1,800 yards this year, but he leads the Buckeyes on the ground with 5 rushing touchdowns. So they've got to have room for the stars to work. Urban Meyer made some noise early in the week saying that Barkley's the best all-around back he's seen in his 30 years of college football. So, trying to build up, the opponent and everything before not wanting to give them locker room material, trying to build everything up. Ohio State was off last week. They've really rebounded from the early loss at Oklahoma. Penn State really has, they took Michigan to the woodshed last week, and this is a run for them because the next week they're going to come back with Michigan State. So you've got to play this. You've got to get with the Big Ten. You got to win the division, then win the conference championship, and then hope you get to to the Final Four. If Ohio State loses this game, this probably will eliminate them. This would give them 2 losses overall, one to an Oklahoma team. It put them behind the 8 ball it would put them behind the 8 ball in the division championship, and then you would have Penn State would have a leg up beating both Michigan and Ohio State. And I just think this is Penn State's year. James Franklin, the best football coach that has coached in the state of Tennessee this century, has really got Penn State playing at a high level.
Yeah, they really are clicking on all cylinders right now. I think with Ohio State, you talk about them bouncing back after that loss to Oklahoma. They've had a pretty soft schedule since then, and that they still, I think there's questions, with how Barrett is able to throw the ball down the field. That's been the question mark for him in his career. I think he's going to have to do that this game in order for them to keep up and win. Do you see that as the biggest concern going into this game for Ohio State?
That is, he has got to make the downfield throws. He's got to keep the Penn State defense from crowding up at the line of scrimmage, trying to shut off the short passing game, trying to shut off the running game. You've got to make them play honestly and stay back there. If he can't make the deep throw, then that really takes the dimension out. Barkley is, when I watch him play, it's like watching, and I mean, I was young and can't remember him. I had to watch the film, but watching Gale Sayers, that's who he reminds me of. The way he moves and catches the ball, runs out of the backfield, he is that, and returns the ball, because that was what Gale Sayers was so great at. And that's who Barkley, I mean, that's who he is. He's not Barry Sanders, and he's not Marshall Faulk. He's Gale Sayers, I think.
Moving on to Georgia, Florida, a huge game here in the SEC East. A Florida team that at times, well, more than at times, they've struggled to score points. Georgia, which has looked rock solid, get a win over Notre Dame and just have carried that momentum on. So who's Spanky's loser in this one?
Spanky's loser is going to be the Gators, and it may not. And Spanky's loser may not just be the Gators, their self football team. It may be the head Gator before this week's over. There's a lot of pressure on McElhaney, especially after he made the statement about the death threats. Yeah. And now he's kind of having to try to go back on that. But if he lied about that, to me, that's a fireable offense. There's a lot of rumors in Florida that if he did lie about that's just an excuse then to fire him. And with Florida this year, they can't get their quarterback. They cannot. He's been there, and he was hired as an offensive coach. He was hired he could work with quarterbacks and was an offensive coach. Well, the best quarterback Florida's had in the last few years is doing a great job at West Virginia right now. I mean, they cannot move the ball, and they're going up against a Georgia team whose really strength is their defense. I mean, they're almost like the junkyard dogs of old. But the thing about Georgia is it's a mental situation with them. They've lost to Florida 3 consecutive games, and all 3 have been blowouts. Can they beat Florida this year? They should beat Florida. They should. I mean, lay the wood to them. But can they beat them? And that's going to be the issue. But I think they will. I think this is a very special Georgia team, a team that will go back and play in Atlanta against Alabama, not only for the SEC championship, but possibly the number 1 seed in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, I think you talk about the momentum Georgia has, but obviously Florida just historically they have a lot to lean on, like you mentioned there. Georgia with their offense going against it is a tough Florida defense. So what is it Georgia has to do to be able to gain some confidence early in this game?
Be able to throw the ball, be able to keep the game moving, not get the game in third and longs, be able to move it, keep the play going. Maybe be able to run the ball a little bit on early downs, but be able to throw the ball and not make it third and longs. Make it manageable, 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, and if they're able to do that, they should be able to move the ball on Florida, and then hope to hit the one big play, because that's what Florida has been susceptible to, is giving up the long play.
Moving on to a game where there's a couple teams here that have flown under the radar heading into the season, but have made a lot of noise since the season started. TCU at Iowa State, a huge game in the Big 12 right there. Iowa State obviously have upset some people, and gotten themselves on the radar. TCU been good for a while. What are the keys in this ball game here?
This is probably the biggest game that Iowa State has played in many years, especially at home. It's the biggest game they've played. Their defense has been excellent lately. I mean, the only losses they've had were the Iowa and Texas They didn't play well in the Iowa game, but they've played well really since then, and the defense has done a great job. They've got a kid, Joel Lanning, who is really an Iron Man. He's playing some quarterback, coming in a special packages at quarterback, playing inside linebacker, and also on special teams. So he's out there almost every down. TCU has an outstanding defense. They're able to shut down the run. And so I look at this as but Iowa State has been able to throw the ball. In the game that they won with Oklahoma, they were able to move the ball through the air. That's, if TCU has a weakness on defense, it is getting thrown on. So it's a big game at Iowa State. The rumors, we're right now about game 8 in the season, and rumors are already starting to fly about Gary Patterson possibly leaving TCU. He didn't do anything to deny, but he didn't do anything to confirm that he would be doing that this week at the press conference, just talking about how, he hates to talk about coaches who say they're going to stay here forever and then they're gone the next week. He said, I'm not one of those kind of guys. And he didn't say, I'm going to stay here forever. So this is a great game for TCU to make a statement. I think they will. I think Spanky's loser will be the Cyclones of Iowa State.
All right, there's Spanky's loser for you in that one. And, there is a difference between going in and shocking people and then being a team that's on the radar, has a target on their back at home. And that's the situation Iowa State's in this week. It's a whole different deal for them than trying to go on the road somewhere and shock the world.
Right. 3 weeks ago, it was a shock to beat Oklahoma, and it was a shock to beat the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Well, now, TCU knows about Iowa State, and they're not taking them for granted. And it'll be a good ball game, especially being in Ames. It's the biggest game, like I said, in Ames in years. Lately, for many years in Ames, Iowa, it's just been, the talk about the basketball team. Well, this year, you've got a football team your basketball team can be proud of.
Moving on to NC State, Notre Dame, a huge game for both teams there. Notre Dame, big win last week, a lot of momentum. Who's Spanky's loser in this one?
Spanky's loser is going to be North Carolina State, and there's no shame if North Carolina State loses this game. This wouldn't be a devastating loss to North Carolina State. Well, it would be probably national championship-wise, tournament-wise. It would probably eliminate them from the tournament, but it still keeps them in consideration for the ACC championship. These were two coaches at the beginning of the year, Dave Doran and Brian Kelly, that were on almost everybody's hot seat. But they have turned in a remarkable coaching job. Brian Kelly, one is as an offensive guy, would like to pass the ball more. But he realizes his offensive game and his quarterback's not tailored to that. So they've run the ball much more this year. And I think it's going to be the situation that comes up this weekend. North Carolina State has one of the best defenses in the country. Their top 7, their front 7 guys, their defensive line linebackers, you're going to see those guys play on Sunday in the NFL over the next few years. They really do a great job. They're able to shut down the run, but I just think that Notre Dame magic at home is just something that's hard to replicate. Bradley Chubb has done a great job for NC State this year on the defensive line. He may be one of the candidates for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, definitely that home environment has been good to Notre Dame this year in some huge games, Georgia and USC being the prime examples. Heading into our last game of the week, it's been over a month since Tennessee scored an offensive touchdown, and going into a tough place against a tough team to score with Kentucky the way they are defensively. Who is Spanky's loser in this game?
It's going to be the Wildcats. I think this is Tennessee. I think this is Tennessee's week. Kentucky, their defense has had the reputation of being able to shut people down. But last week, Mississippi State ran at will against them. And Kentucky has had some lax games on defenses. Kentucky, this is a game where I think the pressure will definitely be on whichever team loses. I think the coach, whoever loses this game, is definitely on the hot seat. I think there's no doubt if Butch Jones loses, I think you could see a change as early as Sunday. But now, if Mark Stoops loses, a lot of Kentucky people have got to think this was the year they were expecting big. How their season started out, they thought it was going to parlay into some big things with a possibility of winning the SEC East. A few weeks ago, you would have said any team could win the SEC East and any team could come in last in the SEC East. But this is a situation where Kentucky has just not played well defensively the last couple of weeks, And I think with the suspension of John Kelly, it could galvanize Tennessee. It'll be the next man up for Tennessee type of approach. And I just think they're able maybe to make a play. In the past, when they've had key suspensions, they've been able to, somebody has stepped up and helped them make plays. Sometimes it's on the defensive end. Sometimes it's a special teams play. I look for Tennessee to be able to sneak out a win, and the Kitties of Kentucky losing this game.
Unbelievable. Shocker of the week this week. Carmichael.
I am picking Tennessee. I am picking Tennessee, but then, you know, it's one of those that wouldn't surprise me. But like I said, if anybody in the SEC East, I think with the exception of Georgia, could win out, and anybody in the SEC East could lose the rest of their games. That's how bad I think the division is this year. I mean, from Florida to Missouri, you know, any of those teams could win the rest of their games, and maybe with a Georgia, if somebody could get Georgia and then another Georgia loss, maybe the Auburn could sneak in and win the Eastern Division by fluke. But, you know, it's one of these. This is the season for Tennessee. It's come down to this, and I think they will respond. I know the pundits from Knoxville to Nashville are already you know, starting to name the replacements for Butch Jones. I hear everybody from Jeff Brom to PJ Fleck to Gary Patterson. I mean, it's all at Les Miles, Dan Mullen. It's all over the place. Everybody, I think, except Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, it definitely will bear watching this weekend. Excellent report as always, Carmichael. Thanks for taking us through those games there. A lot to watch, and most of it at 3:30. So looking forward to checking it out.
3:30. Yes, you get the 3:30 football games, and then you're able that night to watch Game 4 of the World Series.
Well, that'll definitely be good. Good view in there. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Thanks.
Coming up next, going to talk some Hokies here. Our man Chris McCall is going to be in to talk about Virginia Tech. They're going to be playing Duke this week. First, we're going to take a time out here on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview.
American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City takes care of both male and female customers, but owner Kim Smith says they have a special care and concern for ladies.
Being a female in what's considered a man's business, I understand the trepidation that women may have when they come to the shop. They feel like they don't know about cars, they might be intimidated, but that's not the way we do business. Everybody's treated the same. We take the time to explain anything that they have questions about, the repair, the process, the part. We want to make sure people are comfortable with what we're going to do to their vehicle and that they understand. We do cater to women in a sense. We have a real nice waiting room with nice Keurig coffee and flavored creamers, air-conditioned, cushioned seats, TV, everything a girl could want while she waits for her car to be fixed.
American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City, open 6 days a week. Call today at 913-3111.
Do you need an event catered? At Phil's Dream Pit, we cater for gatherings over 50 people. Weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, company picnics, sporting banquets, to name a few. We can set up, clean up, and of course serve. We also offer value packs that include all the food. You pick that up and serve it yourself. Check out our webpage at philsdreampit.com. That's philsdreampit.com. Phil's Dream Pit, Eastern Star exit on I-26, open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we're a phone call away at 423-349-6437, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
If you're catching some waves or just playing in the yard, it is important to protect yourself. You may not feel the sun's heat, but UV rays can still damage your skin even in cloudy weather. Blue Lizard Sunscreen, recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Our SPF 30-plus formulations use only the highest quality ingredients for broad spectrum protection. As a reminder to protect yourself, our bottle turns blue when UV light is present. Blue Lizard, we've got you covered.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Welcome to the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Hokey, Chris McCall due to be here. Here he is. Chris McCall, come on down. You're the next contestant on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
Hey, I'm Andy Dietrich stand-in.
Andy Dietrich.
I'm better looking and would care to say a little smarter. Hey-oh. I said better looking and I care to say a little smarter.
All right, so he's back with us, our buddy Chris McCall. Hokey. Hokey. Ha! There you go. The Hokies have the Duke Blue Devils coming to town. Coach Cutcliffe and a 4-4 football team. Hokies, of course, 6-1, 7-1? 6-1, the Hokies. So should this be a problem on Saturday for Virginia Tech?
Shouldn't be much of a problem. They're going to go out before the game, have the coin toss, and compare SAT scores, and that may be the only time psychologically that Tech's down. Other than that, this shouldn't be a real tough battle for Tech. Duke's got a pretty good offensive line, pretty good size, and they've done a pretty good job this year. But man for man, I believe we've got them beat.
You got a 4-game stretch starting next week. Whew, it's pretty tough.
They got a good one coming.
At Miami, at Georgia Tech, back home to Pitt, and wrap up at Virginia. That is a pretty tough 4-game stretch.
Pretty rough stretch. Need some momentum going into this one. And hopefully that's what they'll get with Duke.
Yeah. Who's playing well right now for the Hokies?
Same bunch. I mean, the ones that you always hear about. Cam Phillips has done great. He, of course, he came back. He got banged up a little bit in the Clemson game, and he's back up and going full speed. Josh is doing well. Everybody that I've talked to about Tech, that's the first thing people say is, can you believe Josh Jackson's done as well as he's done? And it's been a really nice surprise. I don't think everybody thought that he was going to be able to mature like he has, become the leader of that football team like he has. And in all the articles you read and everything you hear from everybody, that's exactly what he's done. He's kind of taken charge of not just the field, the locker room too. And, the coaches seem to have a whole lot of confidence in him, and they seem to think that he's going to be a great leader for a long time.
How much weight you lost?
I've lost about 20 pounds. Can you tell?
Yes, I can tell.
I'm a handsome devil.
Yes.
Fat, non-fat. Doesn't matter.
They call him the CM, the chick magnet.
That's
there you
right.
go.
That's me.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's me.
Yeah, really, I noticed that you're looking good.
Well, thanks, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
appreciate
I can tell the difference. Let's see. You weren't here last week. It was an open date, so over the last 2 weeks, I can tell the difference. So
well, I do
keep it up.
it. Yeah, we're going to keep trying. Let's say hi to Dewey. Won again last week.
Dewey won up in Bluefield.
We are.
The Ramblin' Rams.
At this point, we're 5-2.
Yeah.
The people are. Everybody's very excited about the Ramblin' Rams in Bluefield. They won their big homecoming game against University of the Cumberlands last week. That's Kristen's son plays.
Kristen's son Colby. Yeah.
And I watched some of that game online. They've got a pretty good NAIA football squad. They play in that tough Mid-South Conference. They've done real well.
Going to be really cool. We ought to go up there one Saturday.
We should go.
Call a ball game. We ought to go up there. I don't know if we could. Me and you get up there.
I bet we could.
On Facebook and call the Ramblin' Ram football game.
I talked to
make that happen.
Dewey told me I congratulated him again and talked to him actually Sunday and told him that how proud I was of him and how well they had done. He said we need to get together, have some lunch. We ought to do that. That'd be great. He'd probably like that too.
I don't know what kind of coverage they've got, but with you to drive up there, me and you go up there and call a game, and I'll do it.
Well, I'm a living legend in that part of the world, Tom. I don't believe we'd have any problem. Probably between me and you, it would be absolutely unbelievable.
That's great.
It could probably be a tick-to-tape parade right in the middle of Tazewell.
Andy, are you hearing this over here? This is good stuff. Andy Dietrich, you're missing it. This guy is on it tonight.
Right.
He is The living legend right here.
Living legend.
Chris McCall.
Tazewell.
Ticker tape parade in Tazewell, Virginia, because this guy is the stud muffin, chick magnet, all that
We're
rolled
driving through.
Yeah. So.
Just drop my name. If you need anything, just drop my name. Just tell me you know me. It'll work.
Andy's over off camera just in.
Comes together. I'm sorry.
Andy's in total disbelief what he's hearing right here. That's good stuff.
I'm not as good as someone that can pick. How many games straight have you picked as winners, Andy?
1.
8 out of 10, 80%.
1 M&M's. So.
That's got 6 out of 10.
He beat Tim.
That's actually 80 compared to 60 is pass. That's a B to failing.
Did you hear him say?
What did he say?
He crushed him. He beat him by 2, and he crushed him. Oh, it's a smackdown here every day.
Oh, I bet. You didn't share that.
Didn't share any M&M's?
Of course, Andy is not. He's not trying to lose any weight.
No. He is not?
Some of us here are trying to lose weight. He's not trying. I think Tim gave those to him as kind of like, we're going to bulk him up a little bit more. He's going to start doing the commercials, and we'll just have to do it from like a 2XL lounge chair.
Like the new buy come home and fatten him up for the slaughter.
Right.
Like
That's
hogs
exactly
before the
right.
slaughter. Feed him some corn.
Let me tell you, I am very proud of Andy for picking those games like that, because he's been hiding for years the fact that he is a football genius. There's no doubt about it. They have begged him to become a coach. Put the camera on. I mean, look at that right there.
Look at that.
That is coaching material 100% up and down. You don't see that everywhere.
No.
You don't see that everywhere.
It's getting deep.
The luck that we have, just having him here, is unbelievable.
He's not even Irish. He's just the luck.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the red hair.
Yeah.
It's not Irish.
No.
He dyes it. It's really white. He keeps telling us. He told me a minute ago he was born in '77. It's not the truth. It was really 1947. He's just holding up real good. That's right.
The word is Botox. There you go. The word is Botox.
Pig fats. Shoot it right in there.
Lousy mercy.
But I do think Tech's going to do great.
Yeah, Hokies going to dominate Duke and get ready for
dominate
at Miami, at Georgia Tech, Pitt back home, and at Virginia in the Commonwealth Cup to wrap it up. Whew, that's a 4-game.
We've got a lot to talk about next week and next couple of weeks. It'll be fun.
All right.
Good deal, buddy. Thanks, Tom.
He's the best right here, I tell you. Love coming over doing this show every week. I don't know if you guys like it on any of the camera, but Dave Onge and I love coming over here and hanging with these guys. And Mr. Dietrich is coming up next, and then we have the man himself waiting in the wings, talk Tennessee football. He has the dubious task of trying to tell us who's going to win, although Carmichael's already said Tennessee will win on Saturday. So we'll talk to Kevin. He'll break down the UT game. But next, he's in the house to gloat. Andy Dietrich, the M&M man. He crushed Tim 8-6 in the picking panel. Crushed. What an adjective. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. It's the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at FCA.org.
American Import and Auto Repair in Johnson City takes care of both male and female customers, but owner Kim Smith says they have a special care and concern for ladies.
Being a female in what's considered a man's business, I understand the trepidation that women...
We don't give him caffeine.
I guess I understand that. Let's see. How about just leave co-owner on there? Kristen Martin, co-owner.
That's funny.
Hey, tell the viewers I got voted off the aisle.
Yeah, that's it. The beauty took over and the beast is out. How's that? Here you go, Kristen Martin, co-owner. And we are back on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Thanks for being with us here again on this Thursday night. She is settled into the seat. She is, for this next 3 or 4 minutes, the co-owner of Champion Chevrolet. Hello, Ms. Martin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. She is an awesome, awesome lady, and we certainly appreciate what she does. All right, ChampionJC.com, the internet sales. Tell us how this works, how we can be anywhere. There's a big pocket, by the way. Hello to the folks up in West Virginia and Ohio. We got notification, got folks up there watching tonight that are from here. So anywhere in the world, 24/7, ChampionJC.com, the website. What will we find?
You will find pretty much everything that you need to know to buy a vehicle. You can jump on there, you can text with us, you can chat with us, email, phone call, whatever you need to do. We'll make it work for you.
Yep. And so let's say I see your inventory, and I see a pre-owned. Let me just use one as a hypothetical right here.
Okay.
Let's say I'll see the 2014 Chevrolet Malibu LS.
Yes.
There's the stock number. All right, and I want to look at that one. I want to get specific about that one. Step me through. I contact you again through the internet sales, and take me through. What do we do next?
What'll happen is you'll have maybe a specific question, or you want to know what our best price is going to be. Those kinds of things. You just send in whatever it is you would like to know. A lot of times those are vehicles we've just traded for, and there may not be an actual picture of that one yet, just because it's not been through its processes and been photoed. So whatever it is you need, we'll get those answers for you as quickly as possible. A lot of dealerships have, they want to try to play games and run you through the ringer and make it more difficult to just answer the question. And so we try to do that and make it real simple and answer the question and make it work.
I want to see pictures of the car. How many pictures? Do I get one picture? How many pictures do I see of the car?
It depends. Whatever you want, we're going to do whatever we need to make it work. We actually do videos a lot of times that you really, pictures, there can be glares and different things, and you can't really get a good, visual of it. So we'll do a video, we'll FaceTime with people, Skype with people, whatever.
Okay. Then we get into the moolah. This one, this particular car is for $14,999. I have a trade-in. I'm going to pick something out of the sky. I've got a, Honda Civic. I'm going to trade in for a Chevrolet for a bow tie, Malibu. So how do we get into that? How does that work on the internet?
I can actually take all of that information from you before you ever step foot into the dealership. I'll take the VIN, the miles, get some questions about the vehicle itself, and we can actually put a real good number on it without ever seeing it. We're very, very rarely too far off. I mean, most of the time we're right on the money at where people want to be, and it really, really saves everybody time when they get here to the dealership. We've already got everything ready. A lot of times paperwork's ready, and so it's a whole lot easier than sitting at a dealership all day and waiting until they run around in circles and blah, blah, blah.
We ain't blah, blah, blah in here.
Exactly.
We get them in, get them out, right?
Get them in, get them out. We
That's
don't want
it.
to sit here all day.
No, they got things to do. So I know in the last couple of weeks you've sold one to a coach at LSU. You sold it to some folks in the beach from North Carolina. You sold, I didn't see you last week, you were off. You sold a car to a Dodge Hellcat to Rocky Gap, Virginia, which is outside of Bluefield.
Yeah.
So they're all over the place.
All over the place. This past week we've done a lot of repeat business. I've been here long enough now. I'm starting to see faces again, which is always a really nice compliment when people come back and see you or send people to you. So this past week I've had a lot of people that I sold when I first started, and they're starting to come back around. So I've been busy with repeats.
New and repeats, the two kind of customers you get, and of course she does a great job. Who else is in the internet department?
There's David. David Palmer's been here forever. A lot of people that's been through this dealership know David. He's taken care of a lot of customers over the years. And then also Brandy. Brandy does customer service. And then there's Stephanie, who does what I do.
And so ChampionJC.com, can they request you when they get on and say, I want to talk to Kristen?
They sure can. And a lot of times, because it goes back and forth between myself and Stephanie, we take turns as to who helps people. But absolutely, if it's someone that knows me or, whatever, I'll take care of them. And I've been doing this a long time, so I try to do things the right way and take care of people good. So either way, they'll be taken care of.
And you're open on Saturdays too, the service department, right?
Yes, we are, which is nice. We stay really busy on Saturdays, but they'll get people in and out, and we'll make it convenient.
What's the smelly you have on?
Brown sugar and fig. I don't have any. Well, maybe
it works. Brown sugar and fig. There you go.
Bath and Body Works should send me free stuff.
I would think so. Good grief! Every time we're on here, we're asking brown sugar and fig. There you go. 59 days away from Christmas. Where do you get it at? Bath and Body Works.
Bath and Body Works.
Yeah. Brown sugar and fig. Here we go. You're awesome. What do you want to leave us with? How's the Colbster?
Colbster's doing good. He's finally healthy again. He had a little injury, nothing major, but he was in a boot for a little while. So we've come full circle. He's back and playing at a position this week he hadn't played at before. He's really excited, so he's going to be playing at the dog position. He can't wait. So Tim Copenhaver is screaming through the building. How did they do that?
He's sitting over there, and all of a sudden he just kind of. Oh, gotcha. Oh, there you go. I thought he was cheering because of what you said.
No, I figured it was football.
Football.
He's pretty zoomed in over there on that game.
He's a big
watching.
football guy. Big football.
That'll have some basis on a Science Hill game, so that's important to him over there.
All right, let's do the picking panel. So you picked Sullivan North, Sullivan South. You picked North. You picked Happy Valley. Let's see. You picked Happy Valley to beat South Green. You picked Unicoi County to beat Johnson County. You picked Chuckey Doak to defeat West Green. You picked Morristown East to beat Crockett. You still good with all those? Oh, wait a minute. You're looking at the other one.
No,
man.
No,
Andy.
I'm going to stick with them because I went with my first gut, but I have to say I've been out of the loop this last week or so, so I'm not real sure where everybody stands.
She glanced at your two's picks and kind of went, so.
Hey, what is it the kids call it when they're playing on the game system? I was screen cheating. Off the Andy.
She took Kentucky. She took Georgia to beat Florida. She took Penn State to beat Ohio State. She took Notre Dame to win. In fact, all three of them did. All three of them took Clemson. So there is some separation, but not a lot. But we'll see who wins that next week. We're playing. What are we playing for? Oh, pumpkin pie. We're playing for a pumpkin pie next week for the winner of you three.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, we're playing. Oh, it's always about food with Andy. So this week was M&Ms and.
Andy's real good at keeping us all fed around here. We appreciate him for that.
Did you say pumpkin? Pumpkin pie. We're
pumpkin.
In.
Spell that.
Punkin. I'm from West Virginia. Pumpkin pie. There you go. Almost heaven. Pumpkin. 2. One. Punkin. Punkin. Pumpkin pie. It'll set you free. The glass of milk's cold, makes your teeth hurt. It's awesome. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Yep. Quick break. We'll be right back. We got Kevin Harmon talking Tennessee football on the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Blue Lizard Australian Sunscreen originated in Australia, where sunscreen standards are the strictest in the world. Although our products are now manufactured here in the U.S., we continue to adhere to the most stringent Australian standards to offer the best in broad-spectrum sun protection. Blue Lizard, the brand most recommended by pediatricians and dermatologists. Our smart bottle turns blue in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. You bring the sun, Blue Lizard brings the magic.
Truck Month continues at Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City with unbelievable savings on a selection of over 500 new Chevys to choose from. 17 Silverado Crew Cab All-Star, $11,000 off MSRP. 18 Equinox, $6,000 off MSRP. 18 Trax, $4,500 off MSRP. 23% off 17 Cruise and Malibu. 25% off 17 Sonic and Spark LS. Shop us online 24/7 and remember our Saturday parts and service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where we leave you asking, how do they do that?
Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue. Do you like pulled pork? At Phil's, the pulled pork is cooked low and slow. We cook it all night, but we serve it fast. Our pulled pork is hickory smoked, tender and juicy. We serve the pork either as a sandwich on a bun or platter style with garlic toast. And don't forget to try our pork wings. They taste like a cross between ham and our sweet ribs. It comes as a meal, as an add-on, or part of our meat sampler platters. Pulled pork and pork wings. Just two great reasons to stop by Phil's Dream Pit. Eastern Star exit off I-26, 349-6437. Phil's Dream Pit, the quest for perfect barbecue.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
Back with the Champion Chevrolet 5-Star Football Preview Show. Let's say hello to some folks. Hello to Buster Snyder up in West Virginia. Watching. Used to play ball with Buster. Sam Jones, Betty Perry from Elizabeth. And hello, Betty. Andy Dietrich from right over there. Also want to say hello to Rick Ranson. Rick used to be in Florida. I'm not sure where he's at now, but he grew up in West Virginia. One of my buddies. Also Peggy Nichols, a Mary Kay distributor who is extremely successful. Married to my buddy Jeff. Lives in West Virginia. Kim Williams, awesome young lady from Gray, Tennessee. Renee McNeil, awesome young lady from Elizabeth, and hello to you all. Shane Weiniger from Kingsport and Michael Farthing from Kingsport. Some of the folks watching the show, and we certainly appreciate that. And then I want to go over here real quick and get this other bunch and see if it's the same and see if we can say hello to these folks real quick. Richard Street, Russell Marshall, Tank Morrell, Joel Ragsdale, Gary Taylor, Chip Pratt up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Hello, Chip. How you doing, buddy? Also, Chris Payne from Elizabethton, Seda Johnson from Johnson City, and Phyllis Phillips with the Park and Rec in Kingsport. Folks watching the show tonight, thank you for that. Also, Lyle Denny, who said he looked at us on the screen, thought it was Willie Nelson.
You or me?
Me. No, well, I guess.
I don't look like Willie Nelson.
No, you don't look like Willie. I'm not sure.
I don't know who I could look like.
I don't know who you look like. You look like Kevin Harmon. Yeah. He's in here with the UT Kentucky preview. Coming up to wrap it up will be Dave Angie back to do the picking panel and also to highlight the Region 1 6A Big East before we get out of here, which is in 13 minutes. So next 3 or 4 minutes, we've got my man in here. Tennessee football at Kentucky. Give me the preview. What do you think?
Well, I think it could be really ugly or really, really ugly. I've kind of broke it down when Kentucky has the football and when Tennessee has the football. And when Kentucky has the football, they have a senior quarterback, Steven Johnson. Their passing game is about as bad as Tennessee's. They're averaging 200 yards a game. Tennessee is 165. The Johnson can beat you with his arm as with his legs. You know, Tennessee's done an okay job of spying quarterbacks. They held Jalen Hurts somewhat in check. Didn't do too good of a job with Jake Fromm, so Tennessee has to be able to put a spy on Steven Johnson to keep him from moving the chains on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. When he goes back to pass, the pass rush breaks down. We don't get to him, we make a penalty, or we do something stupid. He just gets loose and gets a first down. We have to stop that. I don't think he can beat us with his arm. He's not that good of a passer. He has a very good running back, and there's a guy named a sophomore named Benny Snell. And right about that.
That would be his fun. It scared me. It scared him coming out of his pocket.
What's going on.
He jumped. It scared me, and I'm not
somebody
even.
was calling me, but I have a Halloween ringtone. The greater threat is Benny Snell's a sophomore for the University of Kentucky. He's from Ohio. He's got 541 yards rushing on the year with 6 touchdowns, and he has 9 catches out of the backfield. So he's a good running back. And you've got a good quarterback who can run the ball. He's not that good of a passer, so Kentucky is going to lean on trying to keep the football on the ground and then try to let Johnson make some action with his legs and get some first downs, move the chains, and try to wear Tennessee's defense down. You know, Tennessee hasn't been playing bad defense. It's the offense's ineptitude. They can't stay on the field. So I thought we did a pretty good job against Alabama early on, and we had some bad plays, but 3 and out, and all of a sudden your defense is back on the field. You get worn out. End of the game, they were gassed. You got to, especially on that last touchdown from Alabama. It's just you can just tell Tennessee's defense was just shot, and it reminded me at the end of Fulmer's tenure. Chavis had some great defenses, but we had awful offenses, and we couldn't get off the field. Couldn't get on the field. The defense couldn't stay off the field, and it just wore them down. The injury start to take over and everything else, and it just kind of multiplies upon itself. The best receiving target for Kentucky is a guy named Garrett Johnson. He's got 32 receptions for 369 yards, and they have a pretty good tight end. His name is C.J. Conrad. So those are the 2 guys you got to watch: Garrett Johnson, C.J. Conrad. They're 2 main receivers. But again, it's nothing to be overly afraid of, like when you're playing Georgia and you've got to watch all those guys. When we have the football, obviously our offense isn't putting a whole lot of guys on scare. Garantano come out in the paper this week and said that the offense is getting ready to explode. So I'm going to be watching and see if that happens. But we've lost John Kelly, so this is a big opportunity for Ty Chandler to step up and see what he can do. He's not the power back that Kelly is, but he's very fast. He gets to the hole quick, and he's very elusive. So it could be a big game for him. Kentucky's not that great on the ground. I think they're 80th in defense. I think Tennessee's in the 60s. So it's going to be we want to control the football, but and I don't know where we go on offense. I have no idea.
Up.
Yeah, I mean,
it has to go up.
Our receivers aren't running good routes. We have one decent receiver and Marquez Callaway. But we're just not getting them the football. Garantano's 1 of 11 for anything over 20 yards, and that's awful. He only hit one decent pass. He's doing better in the short range, but he's an awful downfield passer. So I don't know what our offense has to do to get rolling. I have no clue whatsoever. So what you're going to see Kentucky do, I believe, is what everybody else should do, is they're going to try to make Garantano beat them. And they're going to make him throw the football down the field. They're going to box the line just like Alabama did, just like Georgia did, just like everybody else has been doing. You fill the gaps, you block the line, and then you make the guy beat you. So it's the same story, just a different game, different week. Who's going to win? I have no idea. I want Tennessee to win, but I don't know if they're going to. Kentucky, we won 31 of 32 against Kentucky. Dooley had the game where the wide receiver played quarterback and beat us 10-7. And that still is a stick in everybody's craw. It would be 33 in a row if it wasn't for that. You would think Kentucky would be excited to beat Tennessee. It doesn't seem that way because Tennessee is so far down this time of year for this year. We still had their numbers since that 1 year, so this could happen. They could beat us for the second time in 34 years.
Psychologically, again, we're talking to Kevin Harmon. We've got a couple minutes left. Dave Andrews will come in and finish out the show with us, and we got a couple more high school picks to go with. But losing John Kelly, offensively, obviously huge. My question in the locker room, psychologically, I keep hearing that he's lost the team and lost the locker room anyway. Now you got this guy who's, one of the leaders statistically and in the locker room gone, or at least I don't know if he can even be there, or is he up in the stands watching?
Suspended for the game. He can't be there.
He can't even be in the locker room. So psychologically, how big is this for Tennessee to lose John Kelly?
Well, and he's a leader. There's no question. It's a big loss, especially you'll see it on the field and possibly in the locker room. He was trying to step up to be the leader that he could be because of his stature on the team. But I think what you're going to have is you're going to have a lot of kids. Chandler's a Tennessee kid. He's going to get his first start. You'll have Tim Jordan running behind him, and Carlton Fields and me will be running behind him. So you have young kids out there who really want to prove themselves against an SEC quality team. So, I don't think Tennessee's really laid down. I just think we're just getting out talented and getting beat, and it's just getting demoralizing. I don't know if he's lost the locker room. I hear he has, but they still seem to play hard. I thought the defense played hard against Alabama, and until we just got out of control. But I still thought they played hard. It's going to hurt just from a production standpoint. And losing a John Kelly, you just don't make that up. But Ty Chandler has the promise and has the ability to step in there and have a pretty big ball game. So you can't discount speed, and he's got it. So
Barney told Andy, speed, Andy.
That's right.
Speed. So it's a big football game. I think for Butch Jones it is huge. I think everybody kind of understood they're going to go down to Alabama and take what they got, a butt whooping. If you go up to Kentucky, South Carolina was bad enough. I think everybody understood Georgia. Georgia is who they are. They're having a heck of a year. South Carolina, no. If he goes up and lays an egg Saturday against Kentucky, I think that'll do it for him, because then it shows they're not making any progress. If they can at least beat Kentucky, they got 3 wins. They get 3 more out of the remaining 5 games to be bowl eligible. One of those is circled on the calendar. They got to beat Kentucky.
Got to be Vanderbilt.
Got to beat Vanderbilt. Got to beat Southern Miss. LSU, that's a toss-up. They're playing some pretty good football. But I think Saturday tells the tale for Butch Jones. And
I don't think he's back, period.
Well, I'm just saying whether he's going to finish out the season. I think if he gets hammered up there Saturday.
I think he'll get they'll get right in mid-November. So.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I think if he gets hammered Saturday at Lexington, he doesn't come back.
If he gets hammered Saturday, if it's 28-0, 35-0,
he's gone.
There's nothing. There's no reason not to make a change.
Exactly. You're awesome.
I understand what Curry's doing. I get it. There's a lot of people that are upset about it, but they're not in charge. This is about the hire, not about the fire.
There you go.
Phil Fulmer, we fired him, and we didn't have a plan to back it up. We don't want that to happen again.
You're the best. Thank you, man, for coming by. See you next week.
Yeah, I'll be here.
There you go. He's the man.
It doesn't snow.
It ain't going to snow. If it does, we got trucks here at Champion Chevrolet to get us to and fro in the snow. I like that. To and fro in the snow. That is off the top of my head. That's pretty good. Watch those cords, Bubba. You the man. Yeah, we're tangled up here. Let's bring him back in here one more time. Let's get him in. And so we have him right here. This is our buddy, of course, Dave Onge, to come in here and kind of put the finishing touches on this show. We got the high school picks to go through. And, again, the double-headed monster, 7 for 10 last week. Here we go. South and North, the Civil War tomorrow night. You take South or North in Bloomingdale?
Taking Sullivan North. Or, I'm sorry, Sullivan South.
Taking the Rebels to win on the road to wrap up the regular season in a non-conference affair. All right?
Too much offense, yeah, definitely.
Too much O. Happy Valley at South Green, big ball game tomorrow night in that particular region to decide home field advantage, among other things. And let's see what we got here. Happy Valley, real quick. Happy Valley comes in at 2-1 of the conference. South Green is at 1-2. Who gets that ball game?
It's Happy Valley. They're going to get a win here. A big win for them. And I think they have the firepower to get it done. They kind of hit a lull there. Middle of the season, had a tough go of it, but definitely have enough to get this game done.
Unicoi County at Johnson County. Unicoi County 3-1, Johnson County 3rd in the state. This is in 3A football, and they're 4-0 up on the mountain tomorrow night in Mountain City. Should be warmer than it has been the last couple of nights. You take Unicoi County or the Longhorns?
My man Doug Fritz tells me Johnson County's motivated to finish 10-0, and I think that's going to be enough. They're going to get it done and get a win there.
All right. Chucky Doak at West Green. That will be in 3A football tomorrow night. Chucky Doak 1-3, West Green 3-1, but Chucky Doak has an outside shot along with Claiborne getting that 4th seed for the playoffs next week. A lot at stake. Chucky Doak or West Green. It's a little backyard Greene County rivalry.
I heard that Tim Copenhaver took Chucky Doak in that game, so we're going to go West Green. We're going West Green because that's. I think he missed that one. With all due respect to him.
Taking West Green, the Buffaloes. Then Morristown Eastern Crockett. Man, oh man, some breaking news here while we're on the show concerning Gerald Sensabaugh and now Dobbins Minute. And we'll let you check that out on your own because we're running out of time. But Crockett tomorrow night with Nick Lingerfeld coaching his second game, hosting Morristown East. Crockett is at 3-2. Morristown East at 3-2. They're fighting for that 4th playoff spot. Who gets that game tomorrow night?
You know, I would say Crockett, but the Collie boys are out. Looks like they're not going to be playing the rest of the year. Morristown East historically has had a good run of success against Crockett. I think the psychological side of it is going to have it go Morristown East.
Been a fast-paced show.
It really has. Been a lot of fun. Fast 2 hours.
Tell us how we can watch it tomorrow. Like it and share it's the magic 2 words. Would you please?
Absolutely. You know, you just if you're on the Facebook, you just go to Tom Taylor Sports Show page on Facebook and you watch it. It's archived. Everything that was on tonight for this 2 hours will be. You can watch it tomorrow. Watch it Saturday morning. Just check it out. And once you get there, hit the like button and share it with your friends, and we'll spread the word and spread the football.
Great show. See you next week.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
There you go. Next week is a new start time, by the way. We'll be going on because of the daylight savings time coming up. We'll be on at 5 o'clock until 7 instead of 6 to 8. We'll tell you more about that next week. Joe Vento, ETSU Wofford preview. Thank you. Kevin Harmon, preview Tennessee, Kentucky. Thank you. Doug Fritz, Johnson City Press, previewing the high school football games. Thank you. Kevin Harmon previewing, again, Tennessee, Kentucky. Carmichael previewing the top 5 college football games of the week. Thank you. Dave Onge talking earlier in the show about the Region 1 6A football, primarily Dobbins Minute. Jeff County's huge being played tonight. Also, Kristen Martin stopping by talking on behalf of the internet sales here at Champion Chevrolet. And, of course, Chris McCall, Hokey High, talking about Virginia Tech's preview with the Duke Blue Devils. So we are out of time. We sincerely thank you for yours. We're back in the saddle tomorrow. We're on the road at Food City and Kingsport on Eastman Road for Midnight Madness sale. So for my co-host Dave Onge, Tim Copenhaver, Andy Dietrich, and all the guests here on the show tonight, thank you again. Like us and share us, please. That's all we ask. And so until we greet you tomorrow at 11 o'clock from Food City and Eastman Road in Kingsport, we will say, as always, win or lose, be a good sport. So long, everybody.